Hey there, I'm Dave. I'm 49 as of the time of this video. I am just around 1 week post-op of inguinal, I call it inguinal hernia surgery. So I wanted to make this video because when I was diagnosed with the hernia, I, of course, probably like you, I did a lot of research, trying to find videos and information of other people's accounts. And while I did find some decent testimonials, I really didn't find that many. A lot of them were bodybuilders and they work out all the time. I didn't find a lot of authentic testimonial videos that I could relate to exactly. I mean, I'm just an average healthy male. So I wanted to make this video to hopefully help some of you out there, especially if you're just new to being diagnosed or you think you have a hernia. I was actually laying in bed fighting COVID over this past Christmas. And I had a really, really bad cough, which is not uncommon when I'm sick. And when I coughed once, this was just before I was going to sleep, and this might be too much information, but this may be something you're relating to. But when I coughed, I felt my right testicle move. And that was something that has never happened before with a cough for me. And not just a little movement, like shifted. And so I thought, well, that's weird. And it kind of in my head, I thought, well, hopefully that's a one-time thing. And at this point, I had no idea, really what even an inguinal hernia was. So I think it was the next morning, got up to go to the bathroom and did notice the right side, um, of my groin area. There was definitely a bit of a bulge. And I was still coughing, so I did notice that I still had that sensation when I coughed, and I could see the bulge moving when I was coughing. So initial reaction, of course, was, have I got a tumor down there and I'm going to die? With a quick Google search, it wasn't too hard to sort of self-diagnose myself as having an inguinal hernia. And then I'm thinking, like, am I too young to have one of these? Why am I having one of these? And again, some quick research told me that, 25%, I think it is, of us guys are going to have one of these in your lifetime at least once. And, then I started thinking, well, what have I been doing to bring this on? And from what I read, it's not always what you're doing. Of course, heavy lifting can play a big role in it, but it can be just bad luck, a weakness in the abdominal wall. And so in my case, I did remember that in the months preceding this happening, I was doing a lot of heavy lifting, not bodybuilding. I just lift, moderate weights a couple times a week. But we had, myself and my oldest son, we had removed a dock from a lake, and the pieces are quite large and very heavy, getting them out of the water and up on the shore. So I thought, well, that could have played into it. And there were some other things that I definitely did that could have played into, maybe a tear or furthering a weakness in my abdominal walls. So the first thing I did after that was make an appointment with my family doctor. And it took a while to get in to see her. I think it was several weeks at least, which is normal. Went in to see her, and I knew what I had, but I wanted her to tell me. She, in fact, diagnosed the exact same type of hernia, said that she would, make a recommendation to a surgeon. A number of weeks later, I received a call or an email and then a call from a local surgeon. And weeks after that, went in for my consultation, and he just went through all the things and basically said, if you let it go, it could get worse. They don't typically get life-threatening, but it is possible. Sometimes that can happen. So when you're healthy, it's better to, get it operated on and, get it dealt with now. In my case, he suggested the mesh repair, and it would be an open surgery. I know I had done research on other types of surgery, laparoscopic. There was even a Shouldice or Shouldice, I'm not sure how you say that, hospital, but it would take, thousands of dollars and days of a trip to get there. And I've heard good things about that. And she said she's had my family doctor had even said she had family members who had that method done, and she's had people who have had the regular mesh repair, and they both have pros and cons. So I wasn't left thinking that I had to have it one way or the other at that point. My surgeon said that he prefers open surgery with the mesh repair. So I just said, okay, I'm fine with that. And I did find out in that consultation if local anesthetic was an option instead of general. I've had general anesthetic many times as a child and as a teenager, and I prefer to avoid that unless it's absolutely necessary. The fogginess for days after, throat, if they put the ventilation tube down, if they need that during surgery. Just, if you need it, definitely, don't be afraid of it. But in my current state, I decided I was not going to have general anesthetic unless I absolutely had to. So I'm going to walk through right through the surgery in this video as well. I was going to make a bunch of different videos, but I figure I'll just give you all the information in one sort of long form video. So surgery was scheduled several weeks after my consultation. I got through really quickly. I mean, it's kind of a miracle that I didn't end up having to wait, a year or more to have this done. And again, my hernia wasn't debilitating. It was an annoyance and a burning sensation. And yeah, there were days when, it was frustrating, but it was never at the point where I had to take pain medication just to tolerate a day with the hernia. Now, where it came through the winter, I wasn't allowed to shovel snow. Many of you are probably like, yeah, bonus. So the rest of my family had to do the snow removal. I actually enjoy snow removal. I enjoy the exercise from it. So I wasn't able to do that. I wasn't able to lift much. So it was really just an annoyance. And so fast forward to the surgery day, which as of the time of this video is just over 1 week ago. My surgery was scheduled for around lunchtime, around midday. So I went in around 11 o'clock. They took me in, prepped me, did the shave down, and weighed me, make sure they have all the important information. I didn't have any allergies or anything like that, so it was pretty straightforward. Surgeon came by for just a quick chat. I reaffirmed that I would prefer local anesthetic if possible, and he said that's fine. They were actually doing a number of those that morning. There was 2 or 3 other guys there in pretty good health as well, and so they were getting local and a sedative. Then it was my turn to get wheeled into the OR, talk to the anesthesiologist for maybe 5 minutes. She was really good, and again, explained to her I'd like local anesthetic with, I'll take a sedative if they think that's necessary. So I walk up, get on the operating table. Everybody's doing their thing. Anesthesiologist, puts the line into my arm. Surgeon's slapping me down with whatever antiseptic fluid they put on you. It's kind of cold. And anyway, and I kid you not, I mean, I was kind of tired when I went in the first place. And I don't remember anything about the surgery past that point. I'm a lightweight anyway when it comes to any kind of sedative or anything like that. So I suspect that's when she put a little bit of sedative in the line, and I just went right out to sleep. Next thing I knew, it was 45 minutes later. I'm in kind of the stage down recovery area. a nurse there, super nice. She's feeding me ice chips and I'm handling those, no problem at all. Again, at that point, I'm thinking, man, I'm really glad I did not get general anesthetic if I didn't need it. Again, it's just a preference, because other than still feeling, sky high from the sedatives that they gave me, I felt fantastic. I didn't have any pain. Of course, it was all still frozen at the site. Took a look. It was just steri taped and, a little bit of blood, nothing too serious. And within 15, 20 minutes, I was back in the other area where my wife was waiting for me. Another 15, 20 minutes there, talked to the surgeon once more, and I walked out. I think they wheeled me in a wheelchair to the front door of the hospital, and we had a ride. So day of surgery was fantastic. I really have no complaints at all. Went home and I in my mind, I did not overdo it. I wanted to be up moving around. I've heard that can help prevent blood clots, so that was important to me. And so I was out walking around, fixing snacks in the kitchen and getting back into some work when I could, and then, not making any big decisions or anything like that. They gave me a prescription for, very strong Tylenol. I think Tylenol with codeine. I did not fill that prescription. I did follow their directions and take one extra strength Tylenol and one extra strength ibuprofen at the same time it said 4 to 6 hours. I think I did it every 6 hours. Freezing came out that night. I could definitely feel it. It was definitely a different sensation. Kept the painkillers going I think it was for the next couple days, but I want to back up to the morning after my first night. So that night, went to bed, the night of the surgery, went to bed. I'm a stomach sleeper, so the fact I had to sleep on my back and side was kind of annoying, but no big deal. Took my painkillers before bed, woke up at 4 a.m., realized I had to go to the bathroom. When I sat up on the side of the bed, I was really lightheaded. And I also was starting to feel sick, which was weird because I was like, this is what I wanted to avoid by not having the general anesthetic. So my wife kind of woke up at the same time and she just wanted to make sure I was okay. And I'm like, I don't really feel good. I'm not sure exactly what's going on. But so then I went to the toilet, and when I was using the bathroom and had pulled my underwear down, this massive bulge was all around the incision area, and it did freak me out, I'm not gonna lie. So on top of not feeling great anyway, when I saw that, I really wasn't feeling good, and I told her, look, this doesn't look right to me. And the hospital was only a couple blocks away, so I'm like, you better take me in, and I need to get this checked out. So at that point, I didn't even know if I'd be able to walk to the car without falling. I was still lightheaded, and I did manage to do that. She got me to the ER, and I got checked in and registered. Now, of course, this is Easter weekend, so, and also my particular surgeon told me right after the surgery that he was going away on a trip for about a week, so he wouldn't be around, but if I needed somebody to call his office or go to the ER. So I get to the ER, get checked in, and the doctor on staff looked at it, said he would call the surgeon on call. The weather forecast wasn't great either. But anyway, that surgeon on call did not even come in. He told the doctor on duty from the description that he thought that I would be okay and just basically send me home. So it wasn't really what I wanted to hear. I really did want a surgeon to look it over and reassure me that what I was seeing and feeling was okay and there wasn't going to be some major event or complication from it. So I went home, and the pain and discomfort gradually did get worse. Of course, the freezing was still coming out, and it was really, really uncomfortable. And of course, I was also really unsure that what I was experiencing was okay. And I did research, I did searches, I looked for videos, I looked for, Reddit chats and stuff. And I determined myself that it was either what they call a seroma or a hematoma. And I was right about one of those, as you'll find out. But it didn't quite feel as squishy as what people described with the seroma being fluid that fills the void in the cavity. But it looked very large, like it reached right across my stomach and all the way up towards my hip. But the big bulge was near the incision site and north of it. It was extremely uncomfortable, and I decided that, I would try some ice packs and put those on and off every 15, 20 minutes. And there's no hard data if that really helps either of those complications or not, but I was doing that. So for the next few days, I was just kind of cranky and uncomfortable. And so a few days after that, I decided, I need to call. When was that? So that was Friday. I was in and sent home from the ER. On Sunday, I decided I needed to call my surgeon's office, even if he's away, and leave a message so that I could get the earliest possible appointment once he's back. And at the same time, I also decided I would make an appointment with my family doctor, a phone consultation. By Sunday afternoon, I was so uncomfortable and bothered by this that I decided to go back into the ER. And I went back in, I think it was around 4 o'clock in the afternoon. I did get some level of priority by being in there the second time with this condition. And there was a different surgeon on staff, and she was absolutely fantastic. She looked at it and she said, "Yeah, what you've got, you're basically," she said, "you're among the unfortunate 5% or so that experience one of these large hematomas after surgery. And there's really no rhyme or reason for it other than a blood vessel decides it's going to bleed out, and your body, you don't know this is happening, so you're not able to apply pressure." So this obviously happened to me very late in the night, the wee hours of the morning. And she said that explains why you woke up feeling lightheaded and not well, because all this blood was going to this area. I'm not kidding. It was the size of a large pear, um, just sticking out. And I was never really concerned that the incision was going to pop open, but that is a concern sometimes, I guess, she said. I felt a million times better once I had her look at it, and she said, "This does happen, and they typically do not operate unless there's some other reason to do so, because there's a bigger risk of infection every time they open you up to do anything, and sometimes it doesn't actually resolve these seromas or hematomas." So she said, basically, it just sucks. You're going to have to wait it out. It can take weeks. I've even seen some people talking about it taking months, but gradually your body will absorb it. So I went home and I felt really good about what she told me. So that was Sunday. Easter Monday, still extremely uncomfortable. I was in a better mindset because I had been seen. I got a call from my own surgeon's office that I would have an appointment with him the day he gets back, which is like the following Monday. But by Tuesday, I think it was Tuesday, I could notice, the hematoma was slightly less. In fact, I did draw a line around the hematoma around the bulge with a marker before I even went to the ER, because I knew that they check for if it's getting bigger. And I also knew from some research that if there was any redness of the skin or I was warm with a fever, that's a really, really bad sign. That's a sign of infection, and I'd need antibiotics for that kind of thing. So I did notice it was starting to go down. It was still quite uncomfortable. And as of the time of this recording, it was uncomfortable up until yesterday. I woke up yesterday, 7 days after the surgery, and I felt a lot better. When I was uncomfortable, it felt like the pressure from the hematoma was pushing on nerves, and the surgeon at the ER kind of confirmed that. Because, I mean, it was putting pressure. I could feel pressure all the way down into my testicles. I could feel almost like a sciatic type pain going down my leg and into my hip. And the surgeon confirmed, that the pressure can push on those nerves. Yeah, I've even seen and heard a few reports of, in extreme cases, you can lose a testicle. So I even told her that, and she's like, yeah, no, that's extremely rare. But where it was creating this tension and soreness down into there, I was kind of concerned that was in play. So anyway, this is the second day that I have woken up feeling significant improvement. I will say that after yesterday, when I did feel really good and I was out, doing things and doing some errands, it's still good to take time to relax and lay down and elevate yourself. So my advice would just be, if you notice a significant bulge after surgery, definitely get it checked out. And, odds are it's one of these seromas or a hematoma, and it just sucks. But from what I hear, you just got to wait it out. And she determined that, I would be totally fine. It's just going to take weeks. And even today, like right now, sitting here right now, it's the size of the cup of my hand. It's gone down a bit even since yesterday, and it doesn't hurt quite so much to touch it. She suggested, if I'm able to kind of caress it, and that can kind of help stimulate it to be resolved. And so anyway, we'll see how it goes. But I just wanted to make this video to let you know that if you're going through any of these things with a hernia, this is my story. I hope it works out well for you. I'm an entrepreneur, and I build websites and videos and various online projects. And several days ago, I was thinking, well, maybe I'm going through this for a reason. And that's why I thought of this video. But then I thought, I think I'll take it one step further, because I didn't really find a good resource for hernias. I didn't find a good hernia resource. All in one, I'd like to find a place where there's testimonial videos, where there's, a directory of all kinds of resources, including surgeons and specialists and anything related to hernias, and not just the kind of hernia that I have, because millions and millions of us are going to have these every year. So I decided to get herniaresource.com. When you're watching this video, the site may or may not actually be a full-blown resource, but if it's not ready yet, definitely bookmark it, or enter your name or email, whatever I have set up on there. It's going to be a free resource where you can get all kinds of information. And so check it out, and spread the word if you know someone else who has a hernia, and hopefully it'll be a help. So that's my story. Hope that helps. Take care, and best of luck with your hernia journey.